Welcome to the Bank First Ranger Hour. Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 Spotlight on Northwest Community College. And you can listen to our live stream at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour. Now, here's your host, Gary Darby.
All of that is true. You can do that. It is right there for you. And then later on this afternoon, anywhere you go listen to a podcast, this program will be there. So maybe there are meetings coming up for you, or you're going to be in and out of the car, or you're just going to miss a little bit of it for one reason or another. You can go back later today, find it in podcast form, look for the Bank First Ranger Hour. It will be there. And you can catch up with our guests, which today is the head coach of the third-ranked Northwest Ranger football team. Rangers will be opening up their season tonight, in fact. So I recorded yesterday with Coach Parker, and we'll have that for you as he leads yet another version of Northwest Ranger football into action tonight. It will be Pearl River to open the schedule on the road. And so we'll talk a little bit about this upcoming roster, a couple of different items on and off the field. And then we'll get to you again the ways to watch, to listen, and to be a part of Northwest football, which starts tonight in Poplarville at 7 o'clock. When we're done listening to that conversation, we then get a young lady that in her time so far at Northwest has been named Most Beautiful. She has been part of a state championship volleyball team for Coach Allison Burchett. And then she's been orientation leader. She has done this, that, a little bit of everything. And we will talk with Ava Robbins coming up on our program in the second half of the show, getting another student perspective of NWCC. That's what we have in store for you on this edition of the program, the Thursday, August 28th edition. I will remind you of the happenings at the Heindel Center coming up in the next couple of weeks as we get ready to move on into September and what you might be able to go and find. You know, we had Lance Burton on. I've heard good reviews of what went on there, and now a couple of great acts, different varieties and things for you to choose from. We'll get you what will be happening coming up at the Heindel Center later in the program as well. But right now, it's all about Northwest Community College. Always enjoy the conversation with the next man. And really, we may talk more off the phone than on the phone about everything that's going on in life and about this and different people that we know or whatever it might be. But the conversation is coming up next with Northwest football coach Benjy Parker. His football team will be on a bus. I don't know, they might already be on the road, but going soon to get ready to take on Pearl River in Poplarville tonight at 7. We'll discuss a little bit about that and more next.
This hour is everything Northwest. Your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College and powered by Bank First. Thanks for joining us on the Bank First Ranger Hour. Join the conversation now by texting 662-426-1093.
Today, our North Mississippi Spotlight turns into the Bank First Ranger Hour. You know that. We've already told you. And we'll continue with our Northwest discussion and football. The season is here. Coach Benjy Parker is back. Let's bring him on. Hi, Coach.
Hey, Gary.
Coach, you know, a season ago, you dropped the opener, you win 10 straight, you get back into the Division I playoffs, but that's not typically Well, that's not actually where I want to start. I want to start with 18 players signing on the next level, and then a football team that had the only GPA above 3 in the NJCAA. It was 3.25, and you've got back-to-back national crowns in the classroom. Speak on that first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's something we're certainly proud of. That's a big time championship there. Couple 3 years ago, Dr. Handel let us hire a football only academic advisor. Her name's Tori Fugit, and she does a phenomenal job. She rolls her sleeves up and goes to work with our guys and really helps them. We've got all the resources that a player would need, when they come to Northwest, and we're certainly thankful for that, because they wouldn't be able to go on to those 4-year universities if they didn't meet certain requirements in the classroom. And at the end of the day, when we recruit them, and me and all the other coaches and Dr. Heindel and some more of our administrators talk to them and say, look, we're going to help your son be successful here, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure he graduates and has a great career and moves on from here. So we're proud of that. That's you don't hear that a lot. Maybe we can do that again this year. We're certainly going to work hard at it. But there's a lot of people has a hand in that and work really hard.
Obviously, there is a recruiting standard, right? Handling the business on and off the field. And you just mentioned, the ability to do that and to go forward. Can you, as I guess we all do, we learn, you as a head coach, the staff that recruits each and every year, how to be better in that? Does that continue for you guys as coaches to learn to be better recruiters with those type things?
I think you have to, and when you're recruiting a kid, you try to be as thorough as you can, with his on the field and off. His character, his academics important to him. Is football important to him? What do you want to do? We try to ask all those questions and get a good fit for Northwest. And we've been lucky to do that the past few years.
Let's start on the line of scrimmage. Offensive line first. You got a mixture of returning players and 3 Division I transfers. What have you seen so far in your workouts with that part of the football team?
Well, I've seen some good, some bad. We're up and down. We're a seesaw. You know how that goes. We got some good guys up there. We need to be a little more consistent, every single day. But I do think, it's a group that's talented. I think they're going to take pride in their job and try to win the line of scrimmage and protect our quarterback and that kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see. But we've got a chance. That group right there has a chance to be good. And we need them to be good, because whatever scheme you're in, it doesn't matter. If you can win the line of scrimmage, you got a really good chance of winning the game.
And so to that, let's go defensive line. We talked about, the guys that pushed on to Division I schools from last year's team. You're having to replace 4 of those guys on that defensive side. So what do we have coming on the defensive line?
Yeah. Well, the flip side of that O-line, like if that D-line can win the line of scrimmage, and that, you got a chance to have a good defense, as you know, and we did. We lost 4 guys, 4 really good players with a lot of snaps. And this year we've got some guys with, some game experience, but not as much experience as we had last year, with those guys. But they're working hard, and there is some talent there. And, I think the best thing, those guys, they just need to play, and I think throughout the season, the more they play, the better they'll get. I believe that.
Everybody wants to know about the quarterback. Whatever their team, whoever they're following, you see it on ESPN as it scrolls. So and so has been named quarterback at this school. Can you discuss what's next and what has been a long line of quarterbacks that have had tremendous success at Northwest?
Sure. We've got 3 quarterbacks on our roster. Wyatt Bond is a freshman, and Wyatt is still kind of trying to overcome an injury he had in high school. He's overcame the injury. It's a little nagging deal. He with his shoulder, so he's continuing to rehab that shoulder every single day, and to get 100%, and he's close right now. And then we have Aiden Glover, who is a transfer from Missouri, and then Nico Fann, who's a transfer from Mercer, and all three of those guys have been doing really good during camp. And this summer, again, Wyatt's got a little nagging injury, but the other two, everybody asks me, hey, who's the guy? You know what, Gary, Wyatt's going to help us in special teams for sure, and the other two guys will play quarterback. It's kind of going to be, who has the hot hand. They both bring different deals to the table. They're different players, and I personally think that can help our offense because we can do a little bit more, and therefore the defense, has to prepare for, more things, if you will. We can maybe give them more looks and that kind of stuff. So both of those guys will play, and they've been doing a good job.
So the season is here, and, I guess, obviously, we talk about this a lot. You only get players for 2 years, and things flip and go. And I don't know if you address Pearl River game from a season ago with these guys because there's so many new ones, or do you? Do you talk about that and approaching game number 1 against Pearl River?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I've mentioned it to our team. They know. I didn't really have to harp on it or anything, but they know Pearl River. Hats off to them. Give them credit. They came back, and we made some mistakes, and they capitalized on them. So they won the game. But our guys, I don't have to harp on it, but I have mentioned it, and they're aware of it, and so maybe we can go down there and put our best foot forward. So Pearl River's got a good team this year from what I understand. I heard they're really going to be good on offense, and Seth does a great job as a head coach, and so they got a nice place down there. So it'll be a tough task.
Coach, as always, thanks for being a part of our program today. Good luck, and we'll talk to you as the season goes on.
Gary, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for listening to the Bank First Ranger Hour, your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College on SuperTalk Mississippi 93.7 and streaming live at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour.
Podcast form coming up later on today. By the way, we want to thank Coach Benjy Parker again for being on with us. Northwest preseason number 3 in the country. They'll go to Pearl River tonight. The kickoff is at 7. You can go to NWCCRangers.com where there will be live stats, the ability for you to watch it from Dobie Holden Stadium, and all that you want. The first football home game will be next week at Ranger Stadium at Bobby Franklin Field against East Central. Now it's an opportunity for us to catch another student on one of our Northwest campuses, student athlete, in fact, as we'll get the opportunity for the first time to chat with Ava Robbins. She's on phone with me now. Good morning, Ava. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. So I kind of joked with you about what do you not do at Northwest or in school, because there are a lot of things that you are involved in. But if you don't mind, first of all, where did Ava Robbins grow up, and how did you end up at NWCC?
Yes, so I'm originally from Pontotoc, and I graduated from Pontotoc High School. I played volleyball, of course, there, and I also cheered. I ran cross country, and then I also did track and field where I pole vaulted, and I ran some relay races. But so yeah, I was a big student athlete. But so I played club volleyball in between all the years I played school volleyball, and that's how I got connected with Coach Burchett. And I also had some pole vaulting offers, so I was kind of strung out which one I wanted to do and wanted to go on to the next level for. And so I came, visited Northwest, and I instantly fell in love with it. Everybody was so welcoming, and I just loved the campus and loved the vibes. And so, yeah, that's how I ended up here.
I got you. So volleyball, we'll get into it a little bit, plus other things as well. But now, as often happens, sometimes people say things that trigger an old radio guy's brain, and he has to ask a question. Because when I was and have been involved coaching baseball in summer leagues and doing different things, one of the interns and young ladies that kind of helped out in that league did track and field as well, but she threw the javelin. And so I asked that question, like, what made you want to throw a spear somewhere down the track a little bit? So with you, what was it that said, in your mind, Ava wants to run and try and stick a pole in the ground and go up as high as she possibly can? What led you into that part of track and field?
So I've always been like a daredevil. I like to try new things and just challenge myself. But actually, my track coach, he knew my dad and uncle pole vaulted back in the day, and so he basically, I was kind of forced into it. Mm-hmm. So I tried it out. I loved it, and then I ended up being a 2-time state champion in it my 11th and 12th grade years. So it ended up working out for the best.
Awesome. Student Ava Robbins is on with it. What are we majoring in? I'm going to get into your athletic and other stuff too, but what is your what's your field of study right now?
Right now it is business. I'm just getting a degree in business because I'm wanting to become a commercial airlines pilot, and you don't really need a degree for that, but I'm just doing just in case for a backup, and it'll look good. So after I finish up here, I'm going to go to ATP school in Olive Branch. Really? Yes.
Okay, so now I've got to ask, why that? What brought that in? Is there family members that have been pilots before? Is that, again, just the daredevil and Ava coming out?
Yeah, it's kind of both, but my dad, he's a Delta Airlines pilot.
Okay.
He's an international captain, and so we get to fly a lot and travel the world, and I just really love it, and yeah.
Excellent. So last night I had to go to Northeast Community College to do so on their website, but I watched the last set of the volleyball match. Your club now 5-2. The Rangers were pretty dominant in Boonville yesterday, weren't they?
We were.
What position do you play?
I'm a middle blocker.
All right. And so this group, right, last year you guys get a state championship, you get to the Region 23 tournament. I know goals are set, but early on, how do you feel about this team maybe matching those goals and taking it a step further than the volleyball program was last year?
Yeah, so as sophomores, we came together and just made it our goal to make the freshmen feel welcomed and comfortable and just really take them in under our wings. And I feel like we've done a great job at that because the team chemistry is awesome. Like, it's just unbelievable how close we are, as like just right off the bat. And we actually started off this season with the best record. So that's just one of the many goals that I think we'll be able to accomplish. And I think this team will really go far and end up doing some big things.
All right, so friends, here's what happened. They played in Boonville last night, which isn't that far of a trip, but obviously had to come back home, do whatever they can do today as normal students and people, and then they will be early morning tomorrow on a bus to somewhere in Illinois where they're going to be taking on a few teams. And so I think sometimes that gets lost in the shuffle, Ava. I mean, you guys play one night, you have to try and go to class or just be a normal young lady on a Thursday, August 28th, and then boom, on the bus to get ready to go. Discuss time management for you and how you can get through yesterday, today, and then traveling for the weekend for the matches that are to come.
Yeah, so actually last night we got back at like 10:30, 11ish, and we had 6 a.m. weights this morning. Mm-hmm. And so it was an early morning for us, but a lot of us, we take our school, like we take computers and stuff on the bus rides down and back, and we got a study hall. Charles C is a big help there, but we really just help each other out. Like, if one person's taking that class and another person is taking it, we make sure to help each other out and hold each other accountable. But it's really not that hard when you have teammates that motivate you and make sure to hold you accountable.
So you've done all of this academically, athletically, and then you just said, why not? I'm going to be most beautiful, right? I'm just going to do it all, right? I'm just going to do it all. Take us through the pageant as well, and I would assume you've been working and doing pageants throughout your life while doing all the rest of these things we've talked about.
Yes, so I've been doing pageants since I was a little girl, and I've competed in state pageants like Miss Mississippi Volunteer and Miss Hospitality Volunteer, so I decided why not. It was funny, though, because all of my teammates and peers who saw me in a practice T-shirt and spandex every day were surprised when I got on stage all glammed up in a sparkly dress. But, yeah, as soon as I saw they were taking applications for the Most Beautiful pageant, I was like, I've got to do it. I knew a couple of the other girls in the pageant, but it was just a fun night. Everybody was so sweet and nice. And then, I'm not going to lie, though, the onstage question scared me.
What was the question?
It was, who is the most influential person in your life and why?
And the answer was?
I said my track and field coach because he pushed me not to only be a good athlete, but a good person.
Excellent. Also. Yeah. I think, and we've seen over time when the pageants and some of these questions get asked, it can confuse or, really fry the brain, so to speak, for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Look, I tell people all the time, right, and this would be a little totally different. Like, I have been behind a microphone and have had headphones on for almost 40 years now, right, as a career. The worst subject for me was speech class and standing up in front of people, right, to speak, which sounds as silly as it can be. But that moment, it can kind of trick you up sometimes, can it?
It can.
So throughout all of this as well, keeping that GPA going and moving forward with what you're doing, would you recommend Northwest to other people? I think that I think I know that answer. And when you do, because you've been orientation leader, what do you tell them about your experience?
I absolutely believe they should come here. I chose to be an orientation leader because I remember how overwhelming starting college felt. And so I wanted to be that friendly face who makes the transition easier for new students. And I just love being able to create a welcoming environment and help them feel at home right away. And just Northwest is it's like family, and you don't get that at big universities. So transitioning from high school to college, I feel like Northwest is perfect if you're looking for that feel. And it's also just fun to see the faces that I met during the orientation on campus and just see them thriving.
So you mentioned, right, you're doing business at this point. So will you go into, as you said, trying to get your pilot's license and do things after 2 years of school, or what is that plan? How soon will you try and work on that pilot license?
So I'm actually working on it right now.
Okay.
I take lessons sometimes in Pontotoc, Tupelo when I have the chance. But I'm still deciding if I want to go to Delta State or just go to ATC school in Olive Branch. But I have a little bit of time, so I'm still thinking about it, but I'm kind of torn between the two.
First things first. I understand. Just kind of go. I guess you have a day planner or something that says, I've got to do this, and this as the day goes on. So we've taken about 10 minutes or so out of that day. What's next, though, the rest of the day for you?
Just recovering from all the practices, games. So I'll probably head to the trainers, but I'm done with classes today, and we had workouts this morning, so I have a free day.
Excellent. Good for you. Rest up, and then we'll keep up with the matches this weekend and throughout the season. It's been a pleasure catching up with you this morning. You did a great job. And I look forward to maybe talking with you after some kind of championship or whatever other award you get somewhere throughout the year.
Well, thank you. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Ava Robbins with us from Pontotoc on the softball team, starting middle blocker. And as we mentioned, they swept Northeast in 3 sets. And it was, I didn't get to see the first two. I watched the third, and it was dominant against the Tigers. So they swept them in 3. And now 5-2 on the season, which is off to the best start for the program. And remember, they had a historical season a year ago where they were 25-9, won a MACCC championship, hosted the Region 23 tournament before the season was done. And now at 5-2, the volleyball team has wins over Calhoun out of Alabama. The loss was to Wallace State Hansville. Then they beat Bevel State and Pellissippi State to open things up. They lost to Chattanooga State before beating Rust and Northeast in easy fashion. And now, as it goes, they will continue with a trip to Illinois, where it is Lewis and Clark, St. Louis, Shawnee, and East Central Missouri. All this weekend. 2 matches tomorrow at 1 and at 5, and then Saturday at noon and 2. And then it gets back into the MACCC conference world on Monday. Quickly back at it at Howard Coliseum. And then they'll play at Itawamba on Wednesday. So before we get back and do another Ranger Hour, the volleyball team will have played 6 more matches, 2 of them inside the conference, where they opened up with the sweep of Northeast yesterday. And we'll keep up with all of that as we do. And you have your opportunities to go to Howard Coliseum and watch several matches, all within the conference, coming up as their season rolls all the way through the month of October. And then at the end of October, you get the State of Mississippi tournament, the Region 23 tournament in early November. Tremendous start and a tremendous guest on our program. Done a little bit of everything on campus, and there is more to come. So congratulations to Ava Robbins for all that she has done and been a part of things there at NWCC. Got that season going on. Soccer underway for both men and women as well. When we look at the men's schedule, 2 matches in with a loss and a tie. They tied Northeast Alabama and lost to Belhaven. But remember, Coach Sullivan told us he was going to challenge the club with some 4-year schools. And taking on Belhaven and Jackson yesterday, dropping that match 3-1. But they'll be in Conway, Arkansas tomorrow to take on Hendrix College, back in Conway to take on Central Baptist next week, and then you'll get some matches on the Northwest campus coming up Tuesday against Belhaven, and then Friday of next week against National Park before the conference schedule opens up with East Mississippi. And so that's coming at you very soon. On the women's side of things, the defending national champions and number 1 team in the country knocked off number 14 St. Louis 10-0, and then got Neosho County, who was receiving votes nationally, by an 8-0 score. So 2 matches so far in the 2025 JUCO Kickoff Classic in Westfield, Indiana, and they've outscored the opponents 18-0. They are hosting an exhibition match actually tonight against Christian Brothers. So there's Ranger soccer going on at the complex on the campus tonight at 7, and then they will play an early morning 11 a.m. match on Monday in North Little Rock, Arkansas, against a team out of Nebraska, currently ranked number 16, Northeast Nebraska. So the nationally ranked teams are there for Coach Beatty and company. He's already beaten number 14, 10-0. He has number 16 coming up on the schedule, as well as number 3, and eventually getting into the state of Mississippi where Pearl River and Holmes and Jones are all on the schedule as well. So lots of things going on there. And your baseball and softball teams will be getting ready for some fall games and things going on campus as well, with football getting its start tonight. Soon we'll be talking basketball as they'll be in action in the next couple of months. So a busy time athletically for Northwest. And a busy time at the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts. Coming up next week on the 5th, the Spinners. When we went into the commercial break, you heard a little bit of Rubber Band Man. And so the Spinners will be making their way to the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the 5th. And then next, it is Christian music artist Crowder on the 14th. And I had messaged Blake Bostic. I told you about this earlier, right, when the news came out that Crowder had broken a leg and had to have surgery. And I've seen people on social media asking the questions and doing things. Is Crowder coming to Senatobia? That answer is yes. He is on the schedule and still going to make his way to the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts on the 14th. So tickets are available, ladies and gentlemen, for those September acts, and then moving on into everything else that will be going on October through December as well, with another great fall season. We watched the building as it continued to rise and get there on the campus. You take the tours and you're just amazed with what has been built there. And then now to see the acts, to see the people coming through and delivering all kinds of music, all different kind of acts, comedians, magicians, ventriloquists. It's all been there for you. Been a great addition to the campus, the Heindel Center for the Performing Arts. So you can go to heindelcenter.org, heindelcenter.org, get the list, get your tickets. Next one, September 5, the Spinners make their way into the city of Senatobia. We spin on out now. Coach Benjy Parker on our program today, number 3 Northwest. Football action tonight at Pearl River at 7. NWCCRangers.com. You can keep up with it there. And then Ava Robbins. Got a win in the world of volleyball yesterday against Northeast. And now moving into a full weekend of matches. As she said, an early bus ride tomorrow to get ready and take on 4 teams over the weekend. And again, you can follow all of that at NWCCRangers.com. Good Thursday program. Bank First Ranger Hour in the books for Thursday, August 28th. So long.
Now the time has come for leaving, fear now we shall return.